No, it's early. We've been dealing with some real bad weather. Um, I think it's dropped down maybe 45, 50 degrees within a day. Um, and so then also we live in an area where they're improving the old three stack hydro, basically hydro station that hooks up all the powers in a certain area in Lansing, Michigan. It's a substation, and that substation is being the part for it is so expensive that they just have to totally revamp the whole thing. And so there's a project that's on the way right now because certain areas power turns off way quicker than others. Um, and so later on, because I know it's extremely early, especially for those on the west, um, Sarge, when you get on, put for me, put on there the link in my email so and where exactly this is going to be at, and then we can get some things going later on tonight. But I want to get into something, and I want to thank Anonymous Global for sure because, well, first let me back up. First, I want to give thanks and honor to these two gentlemen right here, which is Edwin Johnson, and that's Grandpa, and then Big Joe Johnson, that's my father. And give respect, love, honor, and dignity um, to those men that laid down the foundation for me to even be able to exist in this material realm right now, however difficult it may be, however many struggles that there are. I'm sure that there is a purpose for each and every one of us. Sometimes I don't know exactly what it is. Sometimes I think I know what it is, but I don't think we ever get to the full realization of our full potential and what we truly can do. I think we need more confidence. I think we need um, more togetherness, more love, which I think is missing for sure. As you know, I'm beating that drum hard. We need to band together like the Band of Brothers. Anyone ever watched that? It's just we have to stick together. But let's get back to Anonymous Global, amongst many, Anonymous Construct. That's my homie right there. Anonymous ABCs 1, 2, 3. Anonymous Prime. Any of these channels, there's so many that are out there that are, I would say, they are really expanding the the consciousness of the people and exposing truths that to me on its own needs to be, you have to put this in your noggin and save it because this information is more correct, more precise than anything that you're really going to get on a computer file, anything that you're going to get in a history book. This stuff is fantastic. And it's things that you need to, if you ever, if you're fortunate enough to, have a cell phone, fortunate enough to have a computer, to be able to store stuff, information, and to listen and to, be able to be there to hear this information being told. You need to store it because, especially for the babies that are coming up, this is incredible information. Um, it can be hard to want you have to let your guard down because a lot of people, once they're exposed to these truths, the first thing is their mechanism of life, because this is all they know, is going to fight this. It's going to fight it tooth and nail because you have been conditioned for, let's say, anywhere from 20 years on up. You've been conditioned to believe a certain way. And so here you have someone else that supposedly is is you know, telling you truths that you kind of have an inkling because you're listening in the first place, but yet it's just breaking down all of these false rooms, all these cubicles, and it's scary at first, and then it's scary to understand. When I say scary, I mean that in a small sense, is the fact that it's opening up your eyes to what really has been done to you, the tricks that have been done, and how you can go about to you know to effectuate a major change, and that is what's needed. And a lot of these channels have been doing this for years. Some of us are newer to this. Some have been, doing these types of waking up people in one way, shape, or form in the communities, one on one, within family, etc. But all I can say is that thank you for those anonymous that are continuing to not let up, to continue on, whether if they get a channel dropped or not, they come back in one way, shape, or form, transforming. It's a beautiful thing. And I have to say that watching the full documentary about the life of Aaron Schwartz, it just is, it's one family that you need to sit back, you need to watch, and you need to just particularly pay attention to the whole of the matter, not part, not parcel, but the whole, because you will glean so much insight, and you will see the fortitude that is necessary to go to the next level. Aaron Schwartz, when he took on, well, basically, co-founded Reddit, and then, but what his idea was is that, okay, if you have a treasure trove of information, and it's there, it's free, it's in a computer base, and you can distribute that to freely to everyone that wants to have this information, right? He ran into a problem because of the fact that some people, as we know, in communities, some people want to make a buck, and corporations want to know that if I have files of history and files of knowledge and you want it, right? So especially court, federal documents and cases and case law, and things that you need to study from the history so you can, move on. Um, you know, Houses like J Store, took advantage of this information, made it to where a lot of stuff is hidden, and then in order for you to even get to it, you had to shell out a lot of money. And so the brilliancy of what Aaron did was, he went into Harvard, set up his. I mean, it was just amazing. Went into like a janitor closet, hooked up all these mainframes, would go in there at certain times and download the information, put it on his, what I think now what they would be called like Fire Sticks or whatever, put it on his drives, and then take it, and he would amass a great amount of information. And why was he doing that? Of course, there's a thrill of being able to hack in the first place. There's no doubt about that, especially when you're doing it for the name of getting it out to everybody, and not just somebody that's rich that can get this information. So that's a thrill, because you're being true. You're standing up for the people. You are not doing it for a financial gain. You're not doing it for glory. This gentleman, I'm sure, on more than one occasion, had been offered as a young prodigy, young child, offered millions of dollars because of the brilliancy of his skills, um, his ideas, especially dealing with computers. But being the person that he was, very inquisitive, um, all grown men would look at him like, "Oh, what have we got here?" I mean, wow, that's what they like. Holy, look at this kid. If you watch him, he could barely look. He would do speeches, and his mom would sit back and these grown men were listening to him, every word that he said, because he would literally be on a podium. I'll be done in a minute, buddy. He would be up on a podium, and barely you could barely see his head. Close the door, please. You could barely see his head because he was so small, but giving out the information, and it's a beautiful thing. Close the door, please. And so it's very interesting. His mindset, he's definitely ahead of the curve on a lot of things. He had chances to become I would say, even a billionaire. Then he ran up against JSTOR, and then also with Harvard, using Harvard's database, his with his own computer, and getting the files off of there. So when it come down to actual court, basically who are they going to find culpable? Well, of course they're going to go after Aaron, and then they were trying to. His legal team was like, okay, listen, Harvard, you're about free thinking. You, out of anyone, are hacker type. Um, not Don't just stay within the confines of the staying within the lines. You think outside the lines because that's where real growth comes from. And for Harvard to turn its back, I mean, the legal team gave Harvard numerous opportunities. The one institution that you would think would love the innovative, uh, love the strength and fortitude this young man had, they turned its back on him. Now, we understand why, because a lot of power people, a lot of power families that are connected, aka through secret societies, through the one percenters, put a hell of a lot of pressure behind the scenes to therefore say, well, listen, you better prosecute this young kid because, basically what he may or may not come up with is some kind of information that he may or may not be able to use against us. I believe they were very intimidated. They were very scared of what they were dealing with the brilliant mind of Aaron Schwartz. Now, uh, so they definitely kept the pressure on. Um, and it's amazing. So then they talked to Jay Store, and if you really look at the way that Jay Store was working, Jay Store claimed to be kind of like a neutral party, but yet they didn't help Aaron one bit. Now, the thing that gets me is that if I look at the emblem, it's almost like a family crest. If you look at J Store, you look at it and it looks like a family crest emblem, like what you would see a coat of arms. And J Store reminds me of um, Astor, the Astor family. J Store, Astor family. Uh, is it John or is it Jacob Astor? Joshua? Who is it? But it just seems like it's part of the Astor family. Now, I could be wrong on that. This could be just a simple coinkydink. Not sure. Really, probably have to do some more, digging on that. But it just seems like that this is connected to the Astors, and if that's the case, it also makes some more sense on why someone would not back a free thinking young prodigy, this genius that's coming up, and basically have a chance to aid and assist. And here's the thing: they went after Aaron because of the fact that he didn't go. Look. If he went out, like the documentary talked about, if he went out and he was doing this for the betterment for himself. So in other words, he's going out there to have fancy Cadillacs and Rolls Royces and Jaguars and going around the world, having the the lush life, just living what they call the dream, what you will see on any of the like the high power TV shows that talk about the rich and the famous, where they show you um, 30 bedroom houses on thousands of acres of land that is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. All of that is not necessary. There comes to a point where that is just overkill, and he was not that way. He did not want that information for himself to create the financial gain. He wanted it to be able to have the information so that the people, you, me, us, the 99% that never have had access to anything like this, like I said, legal um, case laws that went in and now are hidden. Whereas the legal system that is going against you, when they're going to prosecute you, they have all this information, and whereas you don't, you're blindsided because you don't have the intel. And um, and so that's what he was all about. I mean, how can you say that that's true? We can say that's true because he would rather live in a little bitty studio type apartment, instead of being in, for example, this big house that I live in. He um, he enjoyed that. He wasn't looking for everything that he was doing. He was looking out for the betterment of humankind, human beings in the first place. He was not a selfish individual, and the courts went after him very strongly, and really, um, these companies sat by idly, these institutions sat by idly and destroyed him. They got him to the point where he was paranoid on when he would walk down the street. They got him to where it's the typical psychosis that happens to us that are in this line of work of exposing the truth. All of a sudden, now you have an enemy. You don't even know these people, but they know of you because of the information that you put out. And that information that you put out can be so powerful. Yes, some people can use it for the good, and some people can use it for the bad. And there is a consensus that Aaron Schwartz was doing this for the betterment of the human species. And so it got me to thinking. It got me to thinking. Everyone is spending 50K at least minimum for just trying to get in and get per year to get, college, to pay for college, tuition, board, room board, books, etc. Now, my the thing is that in education, in order for you to get an education, you need to have you need to go through an institution. Now, we know that these institutions aren't free, right? So you go through. Here's the problem: you go through those that have to go through public school system, which is a set up, docile dulling down of the imagination, of the spirit, of the drive, staying within the lane, regurgitating information that they want you to spew back at them. So that you're already at a disadvantage. Now, then they expect you to go to higher learning. Higher learning it's like going from the Earth into Saturn or Jupiter. You're going to a whole new universe, new world, new way of thinking, and a lot of people are at disadvantage if they come from families that don't have access to real knowledge, real information, the real information that the regular public doesn't have, but the private does have. These young children are growing up in country clubs, and they're growing up amongst these private schools, and they are already learning in the grade schools into middle school for sure everything that they need to know, that will catapult them into the next phase, which is college. And of course, they either have some kind of financial tie because of legacies, former mothers and fathers, uncles and aunts and grandfathers that have probably are part of the board, or their former alumni and their credible families, and they're what you call old school money. And so then little Billy then gets to ride upon the coattails of that. And so he has all those advantages, right? He's has all those advantages. Now, what am I getting at? What I'm getting at is the fact that in order for you to be an intelligent person, it's not the fact that you need to read the book. It's not the fact that you have to, if you read the book and regurgitate what they're telling you in public school, it's going to keep you stuck to a certain level. You are never going to expand further than what that book is. All you're doing is mimicking. You're not expressing free thinking. You are not using your imagination. You are not testing boundaries. This is what we are here to do. Each and every one of us, that's why it says in books, study, 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 study to show yourself approved. And that's in all cases. You want to push the envelope on everything that is put in front of you, and push that envelope further so that you are not only challenging what's in front of you, but you are challenging yourself. And so my thing is that the education that you're receiving in these universities, well, we know that you have to spend quite a bit of money on the books. Hey, we know this. And then you have a so-called professor that teaches, and they may or may not be a great teacher. That's case by case basis. But why not be able to? If it was such a big thing for the Rockefellers to set up the General Education Board, to set up the General Education Fund, basically, to set up public school, but they set up public school to teach you to be docile so that you're a slave, so that you'll never go above them. Because as noted, they have enough doctors, they have enough lawyers, they have enough professionals, they have enough poets and musicians, and we need not make any more of those. So you know that what they meant by that is that you're just there to be there to regurgitate the facts that we tell you are the facts. And that's that, Jack. So my question to you is, why not be able to have a storehouse? Now, people talk about that you can find information. I have a hell of a lot of PDFs. You can only go so far, and then you have to, expand your RAM, and you have to, keep, expanding your phone capabilities or your computer capabilities. But my thing is, all of the credible textbooks and some of the history, because you always need to have history because history repeats itself. History, if you don't know history, you're bound to run into the same damn mistakes again and again and again, and that's exactly what we're doing. We the 99%, we are either we don't know, we're told part, right? We're not told the whole, or we're just damn left out of the whole deal. And so now what I'm saying is that and this is what's going to take as part of our family, is to get all of the necessary books, all in a PDF file if necessary, all of the necessary books of higher learning, higher education. Not only that, combine that with case laws, combine it with past laws that have went through, that are trying to be hidden. Same thing that Aaron was talking about. But not only that, we need to get the textbooks that are being new editions and both old editions. So in other words, if you have edition 1, 2 and 3, and now they're doing number 4. We need to be able to open up all of these, just like when you're doing looking up etymology of words. We need to have all of these references and understand that their evolution and progression of what they're using, and then use it against them. And we have to find a way of storing, having a great storehouse of this. So, in other words, again, that we have all of us working together, hand by hand by hand, studying in one corner of a library of life, the library of change. And you have Triple this in his team that is fascinated by all the metaphysical things, that we know that there's some truth there and that it's a lie. And so now you got Triple and his team that's out there deciphering these codes, these symbols, and these meanings, and getting every piece of true and viable information that's out there. And then from there, and then from there, you have another team that's studying case laws and old case laws, the up to date textbook and some of the older textbooks. You have those that are studying real estate, financial laws, just economics 101 all the way up to economics 5,000 into the year 10,000. Do you understand what I'm saying? We need to get this information. It needs to be for free, because someone has said that really education, you could find real education, you could find in the public library. A lot of it you could find in the public library. The problem is to know exactly what you are looking for. You have to know what you're looking for, and that's where we come in. That's where we come in. We have. I need some of the college students, because if you notice, even with my other channel that's still out there, Anonymous University, listen, the demographics don't hit into the 18 to 25 range hardly ever. And we need you. We need the young generation to come up with and to understand what it is that we need. Everyone needs to look at, to study, and to have basically the free education that is deserved to all of us, not just a few cherry pick, not just a few that have a lot of money, not just a few that are old school money, not just them. It's everyone should have the same inalienable rights, the same fairness, the same way to be able to access the powerful information that some have. And we are being left out. And so now we have to demand, and this is what we have to do, is we have to make movements, and we have to demand that this information be let go. Yeah, it's going to go against the establishment because they're making money off of these universities. Higher education is what they call it. I tend to call it lower education, because the higher they go up with see, it's all about application. You can use anything. That's why I tell anyone there is no such thing as black and white magic. It's all depending. Magic is nothing but the user itself. You can sit there and have a book that has every hideous picture on there in the world, and you can have a book that has every iconic good person that you think that's been in the universe. And you can crack open the one that's supposed to be of good and use that for utter destruction. If you don't believe me, just look at what's going on now. In the name of all of these religious texts, we are still murdering, we are still killing, stealing, and destroying. Those are the things that we are still doing. We're doing it in the name of religion. But I can also open up some of these grimoires and some of the supposedly forbidden knowledge, and I can see people turning that information and turning it into something so beautiful that you would not even realize what the heck is going on. So it's all about perception. There is no that you're an evil person, that you're a good person. We are all gray, right? Not gray aliens, none of that. We're all in the middle, and we have a choice on whether to use things for good or bad. Some days you are going to use things for the bad because you've had a bad day and because you didn't challenge and check yourself properly. You didn't ground yourself properly. And so therefore, that will be the day that everybody needs to stay away from your ass because you're in a bad mood. Things are going terrible for you, and you will then use what you know and maybe use it against other people, right? So that goes for people that are in a good mood. If they're in a good mood, they're infectious. You just want to, they draw in people, and you want to be a part of that, right? But then those same people can turn on you just like a snake. They can strike so fast. Everything's so smooth, and that person that you think is giving you so much love, and then all of a sudden they either totally ignore you, or that they turn on you because you said one thing wrong, you say one thing out of line, and now you're not their friend anymore, and now they're looking to strike you down because maybe you're a threat to them. Understand the dynamics of this, family. There is no black and white on this. It's all how you get it done. It's yourself that gets it done. You. The only boogeyman that we need to worry about is you, me. That's the only thing that we need to be scared of. The only thing I'm scared of is somebody going off. Right? That's the thing that you need to be worried about. It's not worried about spirits lurking around in the building that's in a spirit state. No, you need to worry about the person that lost his job, that lost his wife, that lost his kids, that doesn't have anything down to his last loaf of bread. He doesn't have anywhere to go. Now he's living under the bridge. He did everything that she did everything that they can do, everything by the letter of the law that they can do. And now all of a sudden, with all these things that had just fell down like a house of cards, now they've got to the point where they don't know what to do. And that's the threshold limit and level. And some people snap. Doesn't matter. No, it is nothing to do with the bad or good. It happens to do with your own individual threshold and people's thresholds. Once you get beyond their threshold that they can handle, then that's when action occurs. People will attack when they've had enough, especially if they're operating within the confines of the so-called system. Because it does say obey and, try to be a good citizen or be a good subject and all this foolishness, right? When really you need to be free, freedom all the way. But, we still need to try to have some morals and get along and live in peace and harmony and not infringe on others' rights. I mean, that's just basic common sense. But when you are, everything is taken from you, and it's a spiral effect. You'll notice it's a spiral effect. If you don't have money, it's a spiral effect because you'll lose your house, you'll lose your car, you'll lose your wife, you lose your children. It's a spiral effect. And all of a sudden, everything that you held dear to you, everything that you love, everything that you look forward to seeing every day is gone, and now you stand. So don't talk to me about, it's just different thresholds. Don't talk to me about that's the evilness and that's the dark side and that's the light side. No, that was just somebody just broke that person down. That person is broke down. They're a human being just like you. They weren't born with a silver spoon in their mouth, and they don't have 99 crutches to fall back upon, a whole bunch of family members to help, aid, and assist when you fall on your ass. They don't have that backing. Whereas, however, you do. And then, shame on you for being one of those ones that have all these people to back you when life is going to hell, but yet you still have the backing. And then you have the nerve to come back and point fingers at people. Look, did you see what he just did? Oh, it's just so hideous. You think about these things, family. And so what I'm thinking is, if there is a way, and I know there is, general education that you can find in public libraries, that you can find in certain areas. My computer friends should know this. In certain ways, and being able to get to higher levels of education. to propel us into the new future. And guess what? Yeah, I understand that somebody that could look like me, that could talk like me, and then all of a sudden they got a disclaimer at the end. Yeah, hey, brothers and sisters, um, I'm compiling all this information, and I'm looking for y'all to throw in that $35 at the end of this video. Let me Patreon that shit. Let me PayPal that shit. Y'all hook me up because I'm giving you the knowledge. So why don't you hook me up? Why don't you give me all the money that you have? See, nope, that ain't what I'm talking about, because I'm running in the spirit of the truth. I'm following Aaron's example. And Aaron's example is not to sit there and monetize on this shit, but to sit there and have a listen. If you do this for one generation and one generation starts to do this and you get that generation free, it's all over. The next families don't have to worry about this foolishness no more because they're going to take over. They taking over, yes, and that's what's going to happen. And that's what the good old government is scared of. Helping out each other to understand the lies they've been under. And that's why Anonymous and all of the Anonymous, all of you are such a brilliant piece of this that I just sit back and smile when I look at the videos. Like, every day I can look at one video, give a thumbs up, give a nice little comment, and move on. It's not to give anybody an ego. It's just to say that, hey, I appreciate what you just gave out because you gave it out at a risk. Every last one of us. And then you know what? And guess what? My face has been out on so many videos from the previous channel to this channel. But you know what? I don't give no fucks about it because of the fact that I'm going to die anyway. I'm 52 years old and they don't have nothing on me. They're going to try to. And I don't care because I'm going to keep building with people that want to build up the youth of today and the youth of tomorrow. And so that means study this stuff. Get all the information. Let's store it. Let's get it going. Let's file it. And let's get these youngins into a position to where they have the power and the seats of control. You may not get a power and seat control because it doesn't matter, because we're talking about the future. We're trying to change the future. The elite are in charge right now. You are not in charge. You are not in law. You are not in charge of goddamn anything in your life. Do you understand that? You may think that you are. They have everything locked down, including your imagination, including your fucking dreams. They have a patent on your imagination and your dreams right now. And if you think that I'm wrong, why don't you go ahead and keep looking in your literature and their literature and see what's going on. They have locked you into a system where you aren't in control of fucking jack shit. They own everything. They own everything from the rooter to the tutor, brothers and sisters. Now, what you gonna do about it? Again, I'm gonna keep saying this. What y'all gonna do about it? How about that? How about that? Now, I love y'all, and let's build. I need people to start commenting, getting this information. Come on now. This is not just Trip talking. We have to all contribute. I don't need anyone giving me an accolade. Y'all know that. I don't need that. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. But what I do need is for intelligent conversations, challenging what I'm saying, giving avenues of what I'm saying, alternatives of what I'm saying, reaching out to an anonymous, reaching out to this great source of information that's everywhere, but you just can't find it. Find it. And then let's talk and let's discuss in a professional manner. Set aside your fucking petty ass differences. Don't come to me thinking you're going to get something cool because me and your color is exactly the same. No, because we all the fucking same. God damn it. It ain't got nothing to do with nothing else, man. I told y'all stuck on today. Look back 50 million years ago and we all was one looking color. And then there was a separation change, and it got dispersed into all of these different beautiful colors we have now, where people are fighting each other over it and fighting over the truth of religion when the truth is oneness. And everybody's got a confusion of that. Nope, my God's better than your God's, and you're saying the wrong name, and I'm saying the right name. And that's all human characteristics. That's not a higher being. Higher being doesn't get stuck on etymology and semantics. That's your dumbasses that do that, the ones that do. That's your dumbasses. And if you're brainwashed and stuck on something that you were told when you were 6 and you still in literal Sunday school, then you ain't in, you're not ready. You're not ready for higher education because you still brainwashed. You got to get brainwashed out of Sunday school first before you can get anywhere, brothers and sisters. So chop it up with me. Let's get this stuff going. Let's get some good ideas. Let's start getting these stashes of information. And we got to figure this out in a legal and lawful way and get it done. Don't let me down.